Hi, my name is Kevin Furman. Thanks for checking out 10 Steps to Unbelievable Rolls. This is step 4 out of 10. And if you haven't checked out 1, 2, and 3, I really recommend that you do. If you come here and you said, I'll just kind of spot check stuff and it's easy, whatever. That's okay, I guess. If you think you've mastered everything, then, best of luck to you. But if you really do want to check things out and find out really how to roll and get rid of tension and figure out how to do it without pain, without it being hard, without having to always squeeze all the time and be tense when you roll, this is really will alleviate all that problem. Been working on this for quite some time and really got it down to these 10 steps that work. Once people actually sit down and work them out, everything works out great. So here you go. Step 4, here's the deal. So far we've been working with step 1 and 2 and 3 with this free stroke idea, i.e. fingers off of the stick, so that you can get rid of the squeezing part. Again, if you have any tension while you play, one tip, by the way, is if you're feeling pain down underneath on the bottom side of your arm when you play, that's usually a squeezing problem. Like you're squeezing and that's why that's starting to hurt. So if you're having problems there and it's starting to hurt on that side of your arm, that means you're squeezing somewhere and you should go check out 1, 2, and 3 and fix that. Okay, so let's just pretend you fixed that and now you're back doing this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do step 4, which is lots of bounces with the stick, but fingers are going to stay on. And this is where it gets tricky because then people will then immediately revert back to squeeze, fingers off, trying to do this kind of thing. Right? You don't want to do that. Okay, so avoid that at all costs right now. You need to get rid of that kind of playing. I know it's difficult because you're used to doing it. Some have been playing for many, many years even, and it's just really hard to break that habit. Once you break it, though, it's very hard not to do it anymore. So it's, again, muscle training that works, and once you do it, it'll stay with you, and you'll be able to play that way forevermore. Anyway, so here's the deal. What you want to do is leave the fingers touching the stick. So what it looks like, I'll kind of give you a couple different views here. What it looks like is this. When you play, the stick actually pushes your fingers like this. And depending on how much you let the fingers get pushed, determines how fast or slow the stick bounces. So the looser, right, the more loose that you let your fingers move, or more loose that they are, and the more you let them move, the slower the stick will bounce. Okay, if you don't let them move very much and you keep them close to your palm, then the stick can't move very far and it's going to bounce very quickly. So then what the game is to figure that out. That's the process down the road. But I wanted to highlight here, that's really how it works. So instead of resistance here, where you squeeze at the fulcrum point, it's actually you're giving resistance to the stick with your fingers just touching the stick and not letting it move around. I'd like to offer a few logical reasons here about the squeezing part, because this is the point where people revert back to squeezing. So I want to give you some reasons why not to squeeze. The first main one is that it hurts. Okay, you play a roll long enough and you try to play really loud, it starts to hurt because you're squeezing the blood of your finger and your forefinger, in your thumb. So that's the first main reason. I think that's good enough. But there's other ones. Think about this. This is very logical, right? If you think of a fulcrum point, and if this were a weight, right, it's a lot easier to push the weight up from back here than it is here at the fulcrum point. Okay, it takes less motion to push here, but it's a lot less force. So it takes a lot more force to do this. Takes way less force here, just more motion. Okay, well, from a logical standpoint, if you're squeezing, you're trying to control the stick from the hardest point possible to move the stick up and down. Whereas here, you're moving it way closer to where it's easiest. So you're giving yourself a physical advantage by using these 3 fingers and not this. So there's another reason. And here's another one if that doesn't work for you, is think about this. If you wanted to play a roll, you want the stick to move fast, correct? I hope you would say yes, right? So you don't want it to slow down, you want it to speed up. All right, well, if you squeeze the stick, normally when you squeeze something, you slow it down, you restrict its movement. Okay, so really what you're doing is you're counteracting the motion that you want, which is you want the stick to move as fast as possible. When you squeeze, you're actually slowing it down. You're offering that resistance in the wrong way. That's basically there. So for those 3 reasons mainly, I give people as reasons why not to squeeze a stick. And if that's not good enough and you want to squeeze and do your thing, then do your thing, I guess, whatever. I just know that when you stop doing that, it opens up a lot of doors for speed and control and technique that really were not available to people before. So anyway, so the deal with step 2 is this. So all that being said is don't squeeze, right? Fingers stay on the stick. So what you want to do is drop the stick with your fingers pretty loose, right? You want them to be fairly loose so they move quite a bit. And you get a number of bounces. I don't know how many. Let's say about 8 to 10, somewhere in there, if you really wanted to get picky. Last few being very, 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 very quick and quiet. Now, as you get better with this, you can get something like this. As you play this for a number of years, actually, you can get it to be very, very slow and still controlled, still touching the stick. Okay, so I'm still actually got all my fingers on the stick, even though it's going really, really slowly. At first, it tends to be more here. Now, if you've got this kind of thing, that means you're not letting these fingers move very much at all. You're keeping it very close, which, you know, that's the basic idea. But if you let them relax a little bit, just a little bit, the stick will push your fingers out kind of like that, okay? As opposed to not moving at all, right? They'll push them around a little bit. Leave your pinky on the stick. So one gauge is, make sure you feel your pinky getting pushed around by the stick. You can feel the stick pushing your pinky. So you don't want your pinky off of the stick, because then you've now negated that control, right? So keep all your fingers on the stick, and you want lots of bounces per stick. Slower is better. So the slower you can make these bounces and still be touching the stick, the better. Okay, slight reminder, right? Good technique. Palms down, use your wrist this way, not this way, right? Fulcrum point, make sure this is open, the gap between your thumb and your forefinger open. C, introduction technique / step 1. Okay, anyway. So just do that. I would do that, honestly, for about, I'd say either 30 seconds or a minute a day. Okay, just getting used to the stick bouncing, really feeling the stick push your fingers around. It's not about whether you can bounce or not, because everybody kind of can bounce pretty much, but it's the way that you're doing it. You need to train your muscles to feel the stick push these fingers back, you know, out, and then your resistance is how much you let the stick push. Okay, so if you want to bounce faster, you just don't let it move much, and they're going to bounce really, really quick. Right now, slower is better. Okay, big one. Slower is better. All right, we'll work on speed later, but right now, slower is better, because you need to feel your muscles get pushed around, your fingers especially. Okay, you need to train your muscles to feel that. Let the stick do all the bouncing. All you're doing is dropping the stick and offering the resistance by having the back 3 fingers touching the stick. That in a nutshell is it. So I would do, say, a minute a day each. 30 seconds is probably okay, but around a minute would be good. If you want to do twice as much with your weak hand, that'd be super smart. Then you train those muscles even more. And that should even things up. What you're really going for is, can you get consistent number of bounces every time? That's an ideal goal at the end of a week. Can you do this so that you get the same thing every single time? Then you know you're offering the same resistance with your fingers every single time. And that's good. You want consistency. So there you go. There's step 4. Hope that made sense. If you do have any questions about it, please email me, let me know, and check out the rest of the steps. We got 6 to go. But thanks for checking out this so far. I appreciate it. My name is Kevin Furman. It's been a pleasure shedding some light on this whole roll thing. If you got questions, let me know, and I'll see you later. Bye.